When we're talking Olympics, how could we not admire the most downright dominant performances?
Yeah, I love it when an athlete doesn't even give his competition a chance.
Kind of like debating me on GSL.
Yeah, you give me a run for my money, but Wes, I don't even think you can compare to these amazing swimmers racking up world record after world record.
What about the 23-year-old sprinter who just crushed the competition in 1984, or the 14-year-old gymnast who was scoring perfect 10s all over the mat?
So many dominant Olympic performances to go into, so don't go anywhere, because we're about to dive right in on Greatest Sports Legends, then and now.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Have we got a good one for you?
We sure do, Wes. We're looking at some of the most dominating performances in Olympic history. Not all of these competitors were necessarily expected to dominate their competition, but they did so anyway.
And that brings us to our first event. Now, swimming has always been a staple of the Summer Olympics, and we've witnessed some especially remarkable feats in the pool.
Yeah, of course, when talking about dominant swimmers, we got to start with the one and only Mark the Shark. Now, before attending college at Indiana, Mark Spitz was already setting world records.
Yes, he sure was, but we can't forget how Spitz prophesied that he was going to win 6 gold medals at the 68 games, but only ended up taking 2 team golds.
Yeah, and that was a disappointing performance for sure. It ended up setting the table for Spitz in the next Olympic Games.
That's right, it was at the 1972 Olympics where his dominance really took shape.
You win your 5th gold medal in the relay. Right now, what's number 6?
Well, it's the 100-meter freestyle. That's the premier event, you know, the fastest swimmer in the world, so to speak. It's like the 100 dash in track and field. It's kind of like Russian roulette, especially now that after winning 5 gold medals, I could have really, and I thought about this, not even swim the 100 freestyle and swim the relay the final day and win 6 gold medals for 6 tries, rather than have just some sort of a flaw get in the way there with taking a 2nd place. But I figured if I did that, I'd never be able to live it down the rest of my life. I went ahead and I decided to swim that event.
Spitz was unstoppable at those games. He went on to help win the relay in his 7th and final event. He finished the 72 games with 7 gold medals in all 7 events that he entered. And get this, 7 world records to boot.
Spitz was dominant in both the freestyle and butterfly. That disappointing performance in '68 definitely fueled the most dominant swimming performance in Olympic history at that time.
All right, so let's fast forward to the 2000s, where we witnessed the emergence of another swimming legend, Michael Phelps. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, the Baltimore Bullet set an unprecedented record with 8 gold medals.
Yeah, to call it a dominating performance would be an understatement. He broke Spitz's record of 7 gold medals, a record that had stood for 36 years.
Phelps' performance in 2008 was the single most dominant performance in Olympic history. And to top that, from 2004 to 2016, he became the most decorated Olympian of all time, with 28 medals, 23 of them being gold.
Though the 2008 Olympics was a record-setting performance, Phelps' showcase of pure dominance over an extended period of time is also unmatched. His performances at the 2004, 08, 2012, and 2016 games not only made him the most successful athlete at each of those Olympics, but as you mentioned, also the most successful Olympic athlete in history.
Murph, there is no denying Phelps' greatness. While just as dominant as Mark Spitz in the butterfly, he was more of an all-around swimmer. So his dominance in the medley events, which consist of the butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle, puts him a step ahead of Spitz in my mind. Let's take a look at both of their Olympic world record times, side by side in the 100 and 200 meter butterfly and 200 meter freestyle.
It's clear the sport of swimming had evolved over the years, with Phelps' world record times from the 08 games blowing away Spitz's records from the 70s.
Yes, now let's compare Phelps' closest competition in his era, a swimming sensation from down under, the Torpedo, Ian Thorpe. He made a splash on the Olympic scene in 2000, winning 3 gold medals at just 17 years old. Now, being that dominant at such a young age is not something you see often. So let's take a look at the gold medals he won during his Olympic career.
Yeah, he was certainly dominant in the freestyle. That's clear to see. But overall, if you're asking me if he's comparable to Phelps, no way. It's not even close.
All right, well, how about Thorpe versus Spitz?
Again, no way. As a freestyler, Thorpe was dominant, but Spitz was just as dominant in the freestyle and the butterfly.
All right, case closed as far as I'm concerned.
Coming up, one of the greatest sprinters of all time wins gold due to disqualification.
Welcome back to the show. Today we're looking at some of the most dominant performances in Olympic history.
Yeah, and it doesn't just have to be dominance at one Olympic Games. It might be continued dominance over a period of time, longevity, if you will.
Absolutely, and that brings us to our next topic, track and field, which has produced some of the most iconic moments in the history of the Games.
Yeah, let's kick things off with Carl Lewis, a track and field icon. Now, Lewis dominated the sprints in the 80s and early 90s, winning multiple gold medals in the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the relays. And let's not forget the long jump, too.
Yeah, Lewis's longevity and versatility were truly exceptional, Murph. He was not only a sprinting powerhouse, but also, like you mentioned, a force to be reckoned with in the long jump.
Yeah, Lewis had so much success competing in the same events as his idol, Jesse Owens. And in this clip from GSL, Lewis talks about meeting Owens and how that affected him.
You know, I was able to meet Jesse Owens at a young age when I was small, and he said some nice things to me that definitely positively influenced me. You know, he told just me to hang in there and be the best that I could be as a little kid. And I was a small kid, you know, I wasn't a big kid, so I always looked up to people that were the same way, and those people meant a lot. He had a program, and he came to Philadelphia one year for that one leg of it. There was a national track meet at the end of the year, and I competed in the long jump, and he happened to give that award to that event. And I was the smallest kid out of the three guys that were there. And he just commented because I was a little tight, you know. He used it as a lesson, and it was a tremendous experience for me.
And then Lewis went on to mirror the success of his idol by winning 4 gold medals in the 100 meter, 200 meter, 4x100 meter relay, and long jump in a showing of sheer dominance at the '84 Olympics. But it was the 1988 Olympics in Seoul that really cemented his legacy, although it didn't appear that way at first.
Yeah. In the finals of the men's 100-meter dash, Carl was actually edged out by a former runner from Canada named Ben Johnson. Now, Johnson set the record in the 100 meters with a time of 9.79 seconds, but Carl knew at that time there was something fishy about Ben's performance.
I met Ben Johnson in 1979, and I saw him, and I ran against him, and he was a Canadian. The Canadian sprinters were thought of as just other sprinters on the track. Nobody cared. Nobody had any respect for them. And then all of a sudden, Ben comes out in 1986 as this new, big, strong, physical person that's running fast times. I mean, his times dropped dramatically, and no one knew who he was beforehand, and everyone's saying, well, this guy is now the new sprinter, came out of nowhere. I'm saying, wait a minute here, this cat was around in 79 getting blown away then, you know, in 80 and 81 and 82. And all of a sudden, he's the best in the world. We knew. I mean, everybody knew what happened. It's just a shame that it took so long to catch him.
Ben was eventually disqualified after testing positive for anabolic steroids. Lewis was declared the winner, cementing his performance in Seoul as, without a doubt, one of the most dominant in history.
Besides winning the 100-meter dash, he also won the long jump. And as a result, Carl is the only man to win back-to-back gold medals in the 100-meter sprint and the long jump.
And speaking of the long jump, Carl won the gold in that event in 4 straight Olympics.
Is there anyone that you can think of to match his all-around dominance?
Maybe not all-around dominance, but our next legend was about as dominant as it gets in his events. I'm referring to another American sprinting sensation, Michael Johnson. At the 1996 Atlanta Games, Johnson made history by winning gold in both the 200 meters and the 400 meters.
Yeah, Johnson's signature upright running style, along with those golden shoes, became iconic. Now, he definitely should be remembered as one of the most dominant sprinters in history.
At Wes, Michael Johnson's double gold in Atlanta was a feat no one had accomplished before. And then he won the 400-meter race again 4 years later in Sydney, Australia. However, when we talk about pure speed, one name stands out above the rest.
Ah, the lightning bolt himself, the man who was so fast he could smile before he even reached the finish line. The Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt, who redefined the limits of human speed with his electrifying performances in the 100 and 200-meter events.
Usain Bolt's charisma and showmanship added an extra layer of excitement to his races. He not only won, but he did it with style.
Yeah, his ability to maintain peak performance over multiple Olympic Games is what sets him apart. He's the only sprinter to win the 100-meter and 200-meter gold in 3 consecutive Olympic Games. Flat out unbelievable. But let's not forget about the most important thing, the fierce competition that he faced.
Yeah, that's a great point, Wes. When you think about it, sprinting is all about the competition. And during Bolt's era, he faced some formidable opponents.
Absolutely. Sprinters like Tyson Gay, Johan Blake, Asafa Powell, they brought their A game. But in the end, didn't matter. Bolt won each race with ease. It wasn't just about winning. It's about dominating a field of incredible talent.
Now, let's explore the hypothetical matchup that a lot of fans often discuss. Carl Lewis in his prime versus Usain Bolt in his. Who do you think was more dominant?
That's a tough one. Well, let's start at the beginning. Both were exceptional athletes and are phenomenal in their respective eras. Lewis' success across multiple events versus Bolt's raw speed, that's hard to compare, but I'm gonna go with Lewis. It's hard to be at the top of your class in two totally different events. Lewis ran the 100 meters and he jumped the long jump. I'm just saying.
Well, I can't disagree with you there, Wes. It's a clash of two sprinting titans. Both had success in multiple games, but Carl was just untouchable in his prime.
Next up, the most challenging sport in track and field, where one athlete proves to be head and shoulders above the rest.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, Wes and I have been looking at some of the most dominant performances at the Olympics. And now, let's leap into an event called the Heptathlon, where athletes must conquer 7 track and field events over a 2-day period.
The heptathlon is a true test of an athlete's versatility, and we've seen some incredible performances on the Olympic stage.
The heptathlon is a female-only competition that consists of the 100-meter hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, the 200-meter dash, the long jump, the javelin throw, and the 800-meter run.
The strength, the stamina, and the speed it takes to compete at the highest of levels in all of these events is absolutely staggering. I like to think I have what it takes, but who am I kidding with that one?
Yeah, you and me both for sure. All right, let's kick things off by revisiting the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, where the very first women's heptathlon was held.
Yes, the competition is incredibly close, with 5 athletes fighting for the gold medal. By the end of the competition, Glynis Nunn of Australia scores 6,390 points, only 5 more than the runner-up and GSL legend, Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
By coming so close to winning the gold, Jackie Joyner-Kersee is more determined than ever to become the best. She then proceeds to win the gold at the 88 and 92 Olympics, putting on a master class of athletic brilliance.
She also wins the gold in the long jump in 88. She becomes the first Olympian to earn a gold medal on the long jump and heptathlon. And Kersee isn't just breaking records in the heptathlon, she's shattering them.
You compete in the heptathlon, a 2-day, 7-event, grueling kind of test of stamina, of will, power. I mean, why didn't you pick something a lot easier?
It can be torture, but I do enjoy it. I think because there's not too many athletes that can do the multi-events. And someone like myself that started off as a sprinter, a jumper, and at the young age, my high school coach put me into the pentathlon. And at that time, I really enjoyed bouncing from one event to the next event. And I found a lot out about myself. Was it something that I wanted to do? Do I mind being embarrassed in the event I don't like? And, you know, it tests your powers and your intellect sometimes, because even competing in Olympic Games or Goodwill Games, at times I didn't know where I was in the shot put. I knew I wasn't in the best shape, and I got out there, did not throw far, but I didn't care. But I enjoyed the whole atmosphere of being able to meet different girls and seeing all of us struggle at one time, but putting it all together to become a champion or to do your very best.
Well, after Jackie retired from competition, we've witnessed some phenomenal heptathlon competitors emerge on the scene. Let's fast forward to the 2016 Rio and 2020 Tokyo Olympics, where Nafissatou Thiam of Belgium emerged as the gold medalist in the heptathlon. She became the second woman to win back-to-back gold medals in this event.
Dominating performances to win the gold back-to-back, sure. But how do her performances stack up to Jackie's?
They don't compare at all to Jackie's, to be honest. Thiam scored her best at the Rio Games with a 6,810-point effort, not getting close to Jackie's world record of 7,291 points. Thiam does hold the high jump record in the heptathlon, while Jackie holds the heptathlon record in the long jump and the 200-meter dash.
Yeah, each heptathlete brought her own style and strengths to the competition. But even with the sheer athleticism of more recent athletes, Jackie still holds the world record in the heptathlon, along with the top 6 all-time best results. it's nearly impossible to directly compare anyone else to the GOAT.
Jackie, you've been one of the most dominant athletes in all of sports. What has enabled you to dominate so long?
I feel the reason I've been able to dominate, one, is because of my consistency, the desire for the sport, or the love for the sport. And I realized what got me there would keep me there, and that's a lot of work and a lot of determination. And with people calling me the finest or the greatest female athlete, I don't have time to let it go to my head, because I do feel at any given time someone can come up and beat me. But if I continue to work hard, continue to work with the people that I've been working with, it's one reason I have been able to stay on top.
Jackie is eventually named the greatest female athlete of all time by Sports Illustrated, and she is absolutely deserving of that honor.
When we come back, we discuss the men and women who left it all on the mat, the gymnastics mat.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we've been exploring some of the most dominant performances in Olympic history.
The Olympics have been a stage for greatness in so many sports, and we've already covered swimming, sprinting, and the heptathlon. So now, what sport should we tackle next?
All right, well, let's flip our way into the next event, one of the most popular summer Olympic events. I'm talking about the captivating world of gymnastics.
Yes, gymnastics, where athletes defy gravity, making impossible moves look easy, and somehow manage not to get dizzy from all those twists and spins. And certainly, one of the most famous gymnasts is Nadia Comaneci.
Yes, the Romanian sensation, a name etched in gymnastics history. At the 1976 Montreal Olympics, at the ripe old age of 14, Comaneci made perfection a reality, becoming the first gymnast to earn a perfect 10 at the Olympics for her performance on the uneven bar.
On the first day of competition, you score a perfect 10. Were you surprised?
I was surprised. I'm not used to watch the scoreboard, because I thought that there was like a 9.90 routine that the judges would give to me. So that's why I didn't watch the scoreboard. And just because of the crowd and the people would start to be noisy, and that explosion when they saw the scoreboard. So that's how I found out, that's a 10. Oh, that's a 10.
That was just the first of many, as she went on to earn 6 more perfect scores in 76, taking home 3 gold medals.
Yeah, all those perfect 10s, now that's dominance on another level. And those perfect 10s earned Nadia a gold medal in the all-around, uneven bars, and the balance beam.
And then she returned to the 1980 Olympics in Moscow, achieving 2 more perfect scores to go along with 2 more gold medals for her balance beam and floor exercise performances. And she unbelievably achieved all of this before her 20th birthday.
Well, now let's rewind to the 1950s and 60s, where the Soviet gymnast Larissa Latynina, in her 3 consecutive Olympic appearances in 1956, 60, and 64, brought home a staggering 18 medals.
Latynina's dominance was real, and she set the bar high, literally and figuratively, becoming the most decorated female Olympian of all time. She still holds the record for the most Olympic gold medals by a gymnast, male or female, with 9. She took home the top prize in the team and floor exercise 3 times each, the all-around competition twice, and the vault once.
Yeah, her total of 18 Olympic medals was a record that stood for 48 years until another legend that we spoke about earlier on this show, Michael Phelps, broke it at the 2012 Games in London. Latynina passed the torch on to Phelps with the same amount of grace she had on the gymnastics mat, saying 48 years is almost enough time to hold a record.
That is the truth. Well, there you have it, folks. A journey through many of the most dominant Olympic performances in history, from swimming to gymnastics to track and field. We covered a lot.
Absolutely, we sure did. And if GSL debates were an Olympic sport, we all surely know who the most dominating performer is.
Yeah, you got that right here. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have on today's episode. So, for my partner, Wes Hall, and our producer, Mark Farzetta, I'm saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, right here on Greatest Sports Legends, Then and Now.